It's that time of year again where everyone's waiting with bated breath for the next ban list. As the weeks go on, more and more people try to predict which decks Konami will destroy, while praying that their old favourites get shown some love in the Unlimited section. And you know what that means? It's Banlist Bingo! Never heard of it? Well, of course not. This is the first episode. To sum it up, I'll be making a bingo sheet, with each square relating to something that's more or less likely to happen in the upcoming ban list. I'll then be filling them with my personal predictions and wishes, but you can play as well. All you need to do is go to the Twitter link down below, and download the template, and fill it in with your own predictions. Feeling too lazy for that? Well, you can also just post your predictions down in the comments below. When the ban list does come out, I'll be going over my own, as well as your entries, to see how well everyone did. So, without any further ado, let's start filling some categories. To start off simple, here's your free space. If you really want there to be something here, then I guess you can consider this as some cards move on the ban list. Are you feeling incredibly confident about something though? Well then, put it in the middle right here, and if you get it right, you'll get a ton of points. Now we really begin, and with something a bit controversial at that. We all know the Red Eye's Dark Dragoon engine, a combo finisher that gives you a very beefy boy. People keep asking for some part of the engine to be nerfed, despite it not really doing too much in the meta. 30 Anaconda is probably safe because Phoenix Enforcer hasn't been released over here yet, and we know how Konami likes to milk things. Also, it did survive the OCG ban list after all. Red Eye's Fusion would be the funniest thing to ban, and would only really annoy Red Eye's players, but sadly we don't live in that perfect a world, so it will probably be Dragoon, if any, who gets the ban, especially since it's been a year since its release, and the next potentially problematic card, Crossout Designator, is about to be released, if you believe the leaks. Next up is Tri-Brigade. We all know that Tri-Brigade have been meta for a while now, and even though in general they're a mostly fair meta deck, people are starting to get sick of them now. While some advocate for a limit to Fire Formation Tenki, that would hurt any other Beast Warrior decks too, so that's not really the perfect solution. Shurag has also been proposed, but the thing that really makes Shurag a problem is when it's summoned with Revolt. So limit Revolt to 1, and make them have to search it with Bear Broom, and that should hopefully be enough. Now for some fun. The TOS format, or Eternal format, was a period of roughly 4 years where Thunder Dragons, Orcusts, Sky Strikers, and Salamangrates ruled the meta. But then came 2020, and that format stopped looking quite so eternal, when they all got slaughtered on a ban list. And yet, slowly, they've been crawling their way back. The last ban list being a great example, with Mirage Stalio and Engage both coming back to 1. So what's next? Well, some people want Colossus back, for some reason, but they're wrong because that card deserves to be banned, and instead we should get Harp Horror back. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Actually, don't answer that. Feel free to put anything from that format here, be it Salamangrate Circle to 3 to match the ACG, or something wild like, I don't know, multi-roll to 2? Now I feel that anyone who's experienced a Herald of Ultimateness with over 4 negates probably never wants to experience that again. And so this next section is for Drytron hits. One option is to carry on Ben 10 Slide down into the ban list and straight up ban her, just to really piss off all 2 Cyber Angel players. But then the Drytron deck still has a lot of options. Herald of Ultimateness is probably the right choice, since it's where a lot of their power comes from, but the likely one for Konami to actually ban is probably Either, since it just gives so much advantage when it's sent to the graveyard. Now it's no secret that Pendulum is not best deck. It's been pretty unplayable for a while now, which is why Konami's been throwing them a bone these last few ban lists, and they still do nothing. What's next for Pendulum then? It's likely that Double Iris Magician will continue its climb out of Banland, and some reckon that Astrograph Sorcerer could come back to 1. But I want to be a bit more daring on this ban list and put Electromite to 1, to see if Pendulums finally start doing something again. I know the ACG is very different, but it's at 1 over there, and hey, guess what? Pendulums still do nothing. So why not just throw them a bone, and give them back the 1 card that actually makes them playable? For this next category, now's your opportunity to try and guess something that's getting hit, which isn't part of any particular deck. Remember when Call by the Grave was suddenly limited? At the time, nobody really saw that coming. This squares for stuff like that. If I had to guess, which I do because I'm making this video, I'd say that the most likely candidate is Imperial Order, being one of those kind of old cards that maybe does a bit too much at the cost of too little. But feel free to put something a bit more wild here, be it a ban or unban. The more unlikely it was, the more points you'll get if it does happen. Now we have to ask ourselves an important question. Will the evil finally be defeated? Us people who actually, enjoy playing the game, have been wanting Mystic Mine banned for a while now. Not particularly for any meta presence it may have, but just because it's an awful card. The ACG finally banned it, so it might actually happen this time. So let's just cross our fingers and hope for the best. However, if you're more pessimistic, or just realistic when it comes to Konami of America, then use this square to say that you think that Mystic Mine will remain unbanned. Finally, this space is for something that, while not in the meta, you just want gone. Besides Mystic Mine of course, since that has its own special little place in hell. This could be anything really, and it doesn't have to be super realistic. For me, it would be Hulky Fibrax, since I'd really like to not have to play it in every synchro based deck, and I'd also like to get those tuners back. Well, most of them. So that's it for our first game of Banlist Bingo. Don't forget, you can also participate by filling out the template in the Twitter link below, or just by posting in the comments. I look forward to your participation. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out, and subscribe to see the results of this Banlist Bingo. That's all for today.